we had a short introduction about you, but most of us don't know a lot about who you actually are. So please tell us, who are you? Where do you come from?
I'm someone in transit. That's me. Some of you may know that I was involved with AUA from the very beginning, from the foundation. And so I'm happy to share with you today, this evening, my journey and some experiences that fit with the theme of today. I'll start with a little bit about myself. So I was born in the U.S. of Armenian immigrant parents. So my parents came in the 50s. And in my brother and I, they stressed our Armenian identity. They didn't speak English at the beginning, but like all of your parents, they were very serious about us getting a good education.
Oh yeah, Armenian family.
That's right. And so I started my college at the University of Maryland. And when deciding what to major in, I was sort of confronted with a situation like many of you are. It was the dawn of a new industry, like AI is today, just starting. In those years, it was biotechnology. And so I decided to major in biotechnology, biochemistry actually. And like you guys, I spent my internships and my summers struggling to get jobs in biotech, and I was able to. And so in those early years, I did genetic engineering and recombinant DNA. And after that, I decided to go directly to graduate school. And so I applied and ended up going to Columbia University in New York.
That's unexpected because we all know you as a business professor. So how did that transition happen? How did you went from biotech to business?
So actually it wasn't simple. After 3 years in graduate school, I realized that I don't want to do research, I don't want to write papers, I don't want to write grants, and that I want to do something else. And I realized that, well, I can participate in the business side. So on the business side of pharmaceuticals and biotechnology. And so I started applying to business schools. When I told my advisor, he went crazy. He says, "What are you doing? You're going to ruin your life. You cannot go to business." Especially in those years, it was very uncommon for PhDs to go to business school. Today, these days, PhDs go to law school, to business school, to medical school, to all over. Anyway, I promised him that I would finish my PhD and then I would leave.
And your journey was truly remarkable. You had a wonderful career in biotech, then business, but then you ended up here. So far, you have been telling about life in America, in the US. How did you end up here at AUA?
So I ended up going to business school on the West Coast at UCLA. Big difference after living in Manhattan for 5 years. Then going and living in LA was a big cultural shock for me. But it was good. It was fun. LA's a fun place, or LA can be a fun place. Anyway, as I was finishing my 2 years in business school, I get a call from the dean of the business school at the University of California, Irvine. The dean is Armenian, Dr. Stepan Kouchakdjian. Stepan was one of the founders of AUA and also the dean of the business school, CBE. And so Stepan says, "Michael, I have an offer for you. Do you want to come and help start AUA?" And I said, "What?" He said, yeah, come to Armenia. And then my head started spinning because I had this whole plan of going to the pharmaceutical industry, going to biotechnology, being eventually a CEO of one of those companies. And all of a sudden, I'm being offered this job in Armenia. And so I talked to my parents, and they said, "What, are you crazy? Why would you go to Armenia? We spent all this money educating you. You have a career ahead. You can make a lot of money." Probably what your parents, some of your parents tell you. And so when your parents say that, what do? You do just the opposite, of course. And so I thought about it, and I said, okay, what should I do? And so I said, okay, Armenia now, this is in 1992, so 1 year after independence. So I said, okay, Armenia finally has become independent in the diaspora. It was our dream that Armenia would become independent, and we never imagined, probably like many of your parents, that it would actually happen. So I said, okay, so the opportunity is me to go to a newly independent Armenia and to start an American university there. And when you put it that way, you don't even really have to think about it. It's once in a lifetime opportunity. And so I left temporarily biotechnology and moved to Yerevan.
Well, we're all very glad for that decision you made and for not listening to your parents. Don't quote me on this. But you also assumed various positions here at AUA. How did that happen? Tell us more about it.
Okay, so from the early years of AUA, there are a lot of stories. I'm not going to go into many of them, but so I moved here in 1992, a year after independence and a year after AUA started, and I started teaching in CBE, and I taught entrepreneurship, and it was the first class of AUA. Overall, we only had master's degree programs, so there were only 400 students overall. And so I taught until the spring. And then I get an email. It was President Miran Agbabyan, the founding president of AUA, and Dean of Engineering, Armen Dergurerian. And they asked me to come to the president's office. And I'm here worried, okay, what are they going to tell me now? And I sit down, I sit down and they say, "Michael, we have a problem and we think you can solve it." And I say, okay, what problem? "We're firing the provost." So he had been at the university for a year, and so we're going to tell him this afternoon that he's fired, and we need someone to take his place, and that person is you. I said, wait a second. I haven't managed anything. I just graduated from business school a year ago. I'm supposed to manage this university. And in those years, the president and the deans were resident in the US. They were not resident in Armenia like they are now because they were focused on raising money and recruiting faculty. So essentially, they were asking me to be at the top of the university and oversee the university. So again, my head started spinning. Okay, what should I do? What do I do? And then I said, okay, wait a second. If they're so desperate that they're asking me to help them run this university, they must be in really bad shape. So I probably have to help them. And so also myself, I like challenges. I like to do hard things. So I said, okay, I'll do it and I'll help. And I did that for 4 years. For 4 years. I wasn't provost because I was too young. They said, you can't be provost. You have no experience. They said, okay, you be director of administration. I said, okay, I'll agree to that. Just give me a little bit more money. Just, give me a pay raise. 4 years later, again, President Agbabyan calls me into his office. And he says, we have another problem now. He says the U.S. government has given, USAID has given AUA $2 million to build an American business center in Yerevan. And we've been trying for 3 years to get the project going, and we're not able to, and the government's going to take the money back if we don't start in 6 months. So I know you can do it. Would you do that? I said, well, President Kouchakdjian, I've never built anything. I'm really not an engineer, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. He said, perfect. You're the perfect person. So that's what you're going to do. And so I ended up doing that for 3 years. And then to close the circle, after 3 years with my family, we decided to move back to the US. And surprisingly, I was able to resume my career in biotech, in a biotech company. After 5 years, I decided with some friends to start my own life sciences company, which we ran for 10 years. And then it was acquired by a large multinational pharmaceutical services company. And so we sold the company. And again, at that time, he was president. President Kouchakdjian called me up and he said, I heard you just sold your company. Come back to Yerevan. Come back to AUA. So I talked to my wife. Hasmik's from here. So we said, okay, we're going back to Yerevan. And so here I am.
Wow. If I were to count all those transitions, all those problems that you faced, and all those head spinnings, I fear we might run out of time. But yeah, your journey has truly been remarkable, filled with transits. And I think at this time, currently, we all can relate to it. With all transitions in the world, things changing, AI, labor market changing as well. I myself am graduating and facing unbelievable career anxiety. And I'm sure your path can teach us something. So what can we learn from your journey?
So I would say, first of all of us want to have a plan, right? We want to see where we want to go, where we're going to go. And that's expected. But what is unexpected is a lot of times we may start that plan, follow that plan, but end up doing something else, which is exactly what happened to me. So what I would say is also, while you're executing your plan, and some of you may not have a plan yet, maybe the anxiety is because you're not sure what you want to do. That's okay. Because there's always opportunity. You have to search for opportunity. If I would have followed my plan, I never would have come to Armenia. I never would have been able to experience all of these different job responsibilities and challenges and satisfaction that I was able to experience here. So maybe the main lesson is look for opportunity, recognize it when it faces you, and then have the courage, take the risk to engage with that opportunity. That is the key. Don't be afraid. Try something new, take a risk. If everyone is telling you don't do it, that probably means that you should do it. And so that's one of the lessons. And let me just continue on with technology and the world changing. As Donata mentioned, the world is dynamic. Everything is changing. Timelines are changing. The job that you will take first will only last you a couple years. It's not like before where you could have lifetime employment. And so...
Thank you for this positive prognosis.
Yeah,
it's very helpful.
But that's how it is. Everything is changing, and it's really changing fast. Some of you will have families. Some of you will deal with some of the political, even geopolitical issues that we have here. But nonetheless, the goal needs to be the same, which is to find satisfaction, to find work that you enjoy doing, and that you can excel at, that you can be good at.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, there is no safe path anymore. Like the dream of going to university, graduating, finding a job, and then retiring is long gone. But yeah, maybe if we seek opportunities, maybe if we are open to those, that could be the better choice. And I did have a last question for you.
Okay.
So if you could go back in time and meet your young self, what advice would you give to yourself?
Okay, so I would give myself a lot of advice,
The most
but
important one.
maybe what I would share with you guys is that when you're young and you're in your 20s, try to be productive. Don't waste time doing things that aren't guiding you forward. Obviously, I'm a professor. Obviously, I mean study, take advantage of all the opportunities that you have. But I also mean, yeah, it's okay to socialize, it's okay to go to parties, to go to cafes, to do things with your friends. That also is productive. You're networking, you're making friends. But don't waste a lot of time on social media. Where's Danielle? Playing video games. Standing outside the university, smoking
Oof,
and
that
drinking
was
coffee and just talking about things, I guess solving the problems of Armenia. Use your time, especially when you're young, productively. There is so much opportunity. There are so many fun and exciting things for all of you, especially in Armenia. And so maybe my final message is that there is so much happening here. It is so exciting. The economy is growing very fast for the last 3 years. Per capita GDP is going up. Wealth is being built in this country. A new AI factory is going to be built. There is so much happening. There is so much opportunity here. So think about that as well. Opportunity in Armenia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kouchakdjian.